Cruise ship bookings are dropping sharply as images of that Diamond Princess cruise on lockdown in Japan amidst a coronavirus outbreak are broadcast worldwide. So far, nearly 360 people, including some 40 Americans, we're just learning this morning, have come down with the coronavirus on board that ship. And today, the U.S. government is expected to evacuate some 400 Americans from the ship to American military bases where they will be placed under quarantine. Joining us to talk about issues that this outbreak raises is the founder of Depart Smart, an organization devoted to protecting consumers' health, safety, as well as their finances when they travel. Sheryl Hill is joining us right now. Sheryl, thank you so much for coming in. We were talking in the break. What are your rights on a cruise ship? These people have been, basically sort of imprisoned on this cruise ship. Could they have gotten off?
I think that you're really subject to the laws of the cruise ship. It's maritime law. It's really up to that cruise line. And you do want, if you're on a cruise ship and someone presents themselves with a contagion like the coronavirus or Ebola, you want them quarantined, right? You don't want to infect the rest of the ship. In my opinion, before anyone leaves the country, they should check with the State Department. They should know the destinations where they're traveling. They should visit a travel clinic, right, to get prophylaxis for disease. They should have prepaid travel insurance.
And those are the immunizations that you need. And I didn't
meds.
even realize there were so-called travel clinics. I thought you just went to your doctor, but there are literally travel clinics all over.
And they're specialized
area.
Because they have a database of all occurrences of disease around the world, and they can tell you where outbreaks are occurring and what you should do to prevent it.
Okay. Right. And you have a lot of information on your website that you've created this organization to try and help people at this point. When you look at what's going on with the coronavirus, what is the kind of advice that you're giving out from Depart Smart and to people that you know that are traveling right now?
To trust your professionals, right? We have professionals who are medical, clinical, travel doctors who have their hand on the pulse of that, and they're going to give you the best possible advice. We need to rely on the CDC and the State Department's warnings. There's a do not travel warning to China right now, and you're being isolated. They've really evacuated all of the State Department employees from areas that would be risky, and
right.
To trust that, right? Like, listen to that and follow it. But most of us don't know how. And so at departsmart.org, we have a 1-hour class that will help you with an emergency preparedness plan. The other most important thing I think that everyone should do is make sure you have prepaid travel insurance and a way that you are guaranteed to contact them. When I travel on a cruise ship, I have a sat phone that I rented. And I know that I can call my travel insurance company myself if I need to be evacuated from that ship.
You don't have to be dependent on somebody else. And it'll be interesting to talk to this couple from Eden Prairie when they finally get back about what kind of financial situations that they've encountered because of this extended trip, because potentially they could be out of pocket if they didn't have travel insurance, right?
And most people do travel uninsured or underinsured, where they have to prepay an upfront and then get reimbursed. And yeah, that's so important.
All right. In terms of cruise ships, one of the reasons the American government is doing this is that they now believe that the virus is spreading more easily on a cruise ship. Have you gotten any information about cruise ships in general with ventilation systems? It's certainly the same thing on a plane as well.
Well, most cruise ships are pretty adamant about quarantining anybody who's sick. And so they're going to do their number one best job at making sure that any passenger on their cruise ship is isolated and unable to contact other passengers. The hard part about coronavirus is that you can be a carrier before it actually presents symptoms of fever or a dry cough.
For 2 weeks, apparently.
Yes.
And that's why these people
And so let's make one more big point about that. Operation Wash Hands proved that you can prevent disease by washing your hands frequently and keeping your hands away from your face. So we should all be washing our hands more.
And you're saying that's something that people, as they travel, really should be focused on. And I know that there are some people who are lucky enough or hoping to be able to go to Japan for the Olympics this summer, which are definitely still on, but I think a lot of people are concerned.
And Japan has excellent health care. You know that I know that.
Yes.
Right? And they are very vigilant. When you come in, you're probably going to get your temperature checked when you cross over. But again, it's because of this whole carrier thing. Let's not forget that influenza kills. We had 60,000 deaths last year. And this is another form of influenza. But as this is happening, there are professionals who are right now looking at platelets and survivors and B cells with antibodies. And I'm really, really honored to live in a world where everybody is caring enough about each other to make this a priority.
All right. Well, Sheryl Hill, again, we have a link to your website on our website, Depart Smart. Thank you so much for the advice.
Thank you.